Hey, what's up YouTube? You're watching Ready Set Drone, and today I have the Max5 from MaxFind. It's a company that sent me this skateboard. It is an electric skateboard, and it's designed for beginners primarily, but it hauls me around great, so let's check it out. So in the world of electric skateboards, there's a few things to consider. First of all, there's the price. This one is about $350 to $400 US, depending on if you get it on sale or not. Second of all, there is a belt-driven motor versus a hub motor. This is a hub motor. A hub motor is generally going to be a little less torquey, meaning that it doesn't have quite as much acceleration off the line, but it's also going to be quieter. A belt motor is going to be a little more punchy and give you more acceleration, but it's going to be louder, and it's one more part you have to worry about, whereas a hub motor, it's kind of all contained inside the board itself. Now this has a 650 watt hub motor, and it is actually a pretty quiet skateboard to ride. This one also has a composite deck. This is a composite deck that's got some carbon fiber on it, as well as probably some plastic material in it, and it's very flexy. Now I can't really push it down right now, but I like this deck because it's a comfortable ride. It absorbs a lot of the vibration in the deck of the skateboard, and I like the way it feels when you ride it. I think that's one of the things they're saying is more of a beginner thing. It's not as stiff of a deck, and if you have a stiffer deck on your board, you can do more tricks and stuff like that. This one's more for cruising and for riding on bumpy surfaces and absorbing that shock as you ride along. It has these 90mm wheels, and these wheels are very smooth. They absorb rocks and bumps really well. I think this material right here is kind of a reflective material, so that as you're riding, if light hits it, you're gonna get a little bit of reflection. There's also a reflector up here on the top and a little arrow. I really like this little arrow to tell you which direction is front, because the board is pretty symmetrical. It's this little arrow right here, this little chevron, tells you that's the front of the board. The power for it is right over here on this side. You can push it and turn it on, and it should light up. Yep, you see it there, it's doing that. And then the remote is really nice. It's ergonomic. It's got a little LCD screen on it right here. You can see that just came on, and it feels really good in the hand. It's got a little wrist strap so that you don't drop it. Once it's on, it pairs, and you just push the little knob here, the little thumb thing to make it go forward. And then pulling it down is actually a brake. The brakes actually work pretty well. I've ridden this thing down some fairly steep hills, and I'm heavy, and it's able to stop me pretty well. Now if you look on this LCD screen, this actually has not only the battery for the controller here, but it also tells you the battery level for the skateboard itself. And somehow this thing tells you how fast you're going. So let me do this right now. So I guess it's based on how fast the wheel is spinning, is how fast it thinks you're going. You can see as I spin the wheel, this number increases all the way up to 38. That's the highest it'll go. Oh, there's also 3 different modes on this. There's a 1, 2, and a 3 that you get to by pressing this bottom button. So this is 1. Oh, there's 4 different modes. So there's 1, there's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And here's 4. I kind of like that sound. The theoretical range of this thing is 15 to 20 miles, and that's gonna really depend on a lot of factors like your weight, how many hills you're going up and down. But I'm 225, it holds me no problem, and I've gone up some, like I said, pretty steep and down some fairly steep hills using the brake, and this thing has been able to hold on to me and keep pulling me up that hill or slowing me down as I go down a hill without a whole lot of trouble. So we're over at the park,
and there's a little creek with a bridge here, and there's a fairly steep little hill at the end of it. I'm gonna see if this thing will get me up that hill. I'm gonna put it into 3. So I was in 2, now I'm in level 3, and I think there's 5 total, so I'm halfway. So let's see if this will do the trick to get me up that hill in level 3. Oh, barely. But it did it. And I'm not a light horse. I'm a Clydesdale, as they say. Whoop. All right, and then one other thing, you can't really tell, but there is a down here, and I'm gonna demonstrate the brakes, because I did do this once before, and it did actually stop me. So I'm full brakes right now, with all my weight, and it very under control with the brakes. It won't stop you completely, but you can see right there on a flat surface it will.
So this does have this composite deck, and I really like the way this feels when you're riding it. It is much smoother than bamboo decks or wooden decks that I've ridden on in the past, because this thing flexes and gives you that ability to absorb all of the bumps and the little micro vibrations that happen when you're riding a skateboard. When you're an old guy like me, your legs do get pretty tired, and not having as much vibration really helps when you're riding a skateboard, and this thing actually does a pretty good job of that. It's got a decent amount of grippy tape here on the top. This surface right here is fairly grippy. It's got these lips on the edge, so you can kind of feel where the edge is. I have had times where my toes are hanging over, and I can actually tell how much they're hanging over by this lip right here. The battery is embedded in here, and it's not removable, at least not easily that I can see. And then all the electronics and the controller and stuff, speed controller, are up in here. I assume that these are ways to link up with them on their socials, Facebook and WeChat, etc. And then the only 2 wires you really have to contend with are these 2 that come out. Very clean and simple design. I do like that about this board. Doesn't have a lot of stuff going on. I've ridden boards with LEDs, which is cool, but it's just one more thing to drain the battery and it can go wrong. So it's nice to have something really simple. The turning radius on it is pretty decent. When you put a little weight on one side, you can actually turn it quite a bit. Overall, this board to me seems like a really great starter board. I've ridden it quite a bit. My son has ridden it quite a bit. I'm actually going to let my nephew, who's a pretty hardcore skateboarder and has been for a long time, ride it over the holidays, and I want to see what he has to say about it. But for me, I have not been disappointed, and if you want to check it out, there's a link below. It's called the Max5, and the company is MaxFind, and I think if you're wanting to get a fairly easy to ride first electric skateboard, the Max5 may be the way to go. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've ridden an electric skateboard before, if you've had this one, or if you've had a similar one, let me know your experience. I'll try to get back to you in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Ready, Set, Drone.